2 minutes. There's some folks that are still logging on. If you can just be patient with us, we'll be right back with you and start the online Alaska presentation with Holland America Line. California, we'd like to welcome all of you from all over the U.S. and Canada. We have a treat in store for you tonight. A wonderful friend of 20 years with Holland America has joined us tonight from the Holland America headquarters. Marie Ruzicka, who is the manager of Alaska events, came to know her many years ago when we used to do presentations for Alaska and Holland America Line on the road. And I can tell you that she has an absolute passion for the great land of Alaska. And I don't know anyone in the country that probably knows more, loves Alaska any more than Marie. We have a fantastic 30-minute presentation for you tonight, and the primary purpose of this education is to get you excited about your upcoming vacation. This is educational, it's informative, you're going to learn a lot, it's a show and tell, so they're great. That's why we do it as a webinar presentation. You're going to learn a lot because I know that your objective is that you're trying to figure it all out. And you're going to hear in this presentation that if you're considering a trip to Alaska, even though there are many ways to experience Alaska, I can tell you in advance that Holland America Line will deliver to you a fantastic land tour and cruise to Alaska that you're going to learn about tonight. So all questions are good. We'll have questions at the end of the presentation. If you would like to do that, you can ask them, you can type them in, and Julie from the Office of CruiseExperts.com will be moderating. So I'd like to introduce to you, from the bottom of my heart, the most warm welcome to Marie from Holland America Line. Would you give her a silent applause wherever you are? Welcome, Marie.
Oh, thank you so much, Wes. I love technology that it brings us a little bit closer. So yes, I'm waving to you all from Seattle, Washington, the home offices of Holland America Line. And I'm so happy to be here to share with you the 2016 Holland America Land and Sea Journeys product. But before we do that, I want to tell you a little bit about me. And just so you know, instead of just having it be a voice, I thought I'd put a picture of myself up there. That was one of the cruises I took up to Alaska. And I want to tell you that Alaska was never on my list of places to go. I'm a Washingtonian, and what I heard about Alaska was it was cold and that people lived in igloos. So I really thought that it was crazy until a fateful day in the early 90s when I got a chance to visit friends up in Anchorage. And I took a whole roll of film. When you could take rolls of film, I took a whole roll of film just on the flight. It was so beautiful, but once I landed, Alaska just unfolded for me in this beautiful way. And you will hear that too from friends and family who've been up there. The beauty, the people, the exquisite awesomeness of what Alaska can bring. I was absolutely hooked. And my friends were working on the McKinley Explorer rail cars, and I'll show them to you in a second. And at the end of the conversation with their boss, she asked me if I wanted a job. So a 2-week vacation turned into the rest of the summer, and I fell even more in love with Alaska. And here I created a job where the last 20 years I get to talk about it, and how wonderful. So I'm so excited to bring my passion and my love, and I could talk about this for hours, but we have 30 minutes to share about Alaska. And again, if you have any questions, please write them in the chat box there and we'll answer them. What I found out in Alaska, the summer season and the visitor season is from May through September, and more of the pictures you'll see are like this. Of course, I can never promise the weather. In Alaska, you can have rain, wind, and sun all before lunch. So, but more pictures will be like this one. It's so beautiful with the land of the midnight sun and the longer days. It is absolutely lovely up there. Let's talk about the size of this wonderful place. Now, in America, I know that there are Canadians also on the call, but in the U.S., often we see maps like this, where Alaska may or may not be a part of Mexico, and maybe it's an island floating next to Hawaii, and it's about the size of Arizona. If, in fact, you could put Alaska, the true sense of Alaska, over the United States, it is 1/5 the size of the continental United States. And if you add the Yukon to that, we're talking about over 1 million acres here, and I always say that the great land gets greater. There are many reasons that people go to Alaska, but 4 of them usually bubble to the top, and one of them is to view the wilderness of the great land, authentic and pristine, maybe the wildlife of the region, whether it's the moose, and the moose are the largest of the deer family, the caribou, and there are more caribou in Alaska than there are people. Also, I always thank these little guys. These are the Dall sheep, and I thank them every time I see them, especially in Denali National Park, because we wouldn't have Denali National Park without them. The area of Denali National Park was designed to protect and preserve these little guys, so I always take a big thank you to the Dall sheep whenever I see them. And of course, everybody wants to see a ferocious grizzly bear. Another reason that people want to go to Alaska is to view the glaciers of Alaska. There are over 100,000 glaciers in this beautiful state. 5% of Alaska is glaciers. And the number one reason that people want to see and go to Alaska is to view Mount McKinley, the tallest mountain in North America. The indigenous people call it the High One or the Great One, and that is what Denali means. On the maps you'll see it as Mount McKinley. To most locals you'll see it as Denali, but you'll also hear simply the mountain, and you'll know it when you see it. There's nothing like seeing 20,320 feet tall landmass. It's absolutely stunning. It's so tall that it creates its own weather. But really, what experience do you crave? Here is the wonderful thing. What I'd like you to do, if you don't have next to you, have a piece of paper and a pen. Because what I want you to do is start creating your own wish list. And then you're going to, with your the travel professionals from Cruise Experts, you're going to be prioritizing that list and matching it to an itinerary that is going to make your wishes come true. And let me give you an example of something that you may want to put on your wish list. And if you're interested in glaciers, if you love the national parks and you want to check off the national parks passport and make sure that it's all checked off and you've seen them all around the country, all the national parks of the nation, then check out Glacier Bay National Park. Make sure to write that on your wish list. Glacier Bay National Park is a full-day experience. We have more permits to visit, that we meaning Holland America, have more permits to visit than any other cruise line. So many itineraries have it. But if this is on your list, make sure you're prioritizing it and make sure it's on your itinerary. So as I say anything today, just have your pen out and write down, oh, yes, I would like to see that. Yes, that would be really wonderful. And then you're going to prioritize this list with the travel professionals at Cruise Experts. There's so much to see and do in Alaska. I can't count how many times guests have told me at the end of their vacation that they wish they had spent more time. So my best advice to you is to take your time. The best time to go to Alaska is when you can spend the most time there. Alaska is wild. You're on Mother Nature's schedule. Remember, you're not visiting a zoo. And when you're viewing wildlife, you're going to be in their natural habitat. And vacationing in Alaska is not like that trip to Europe where you can kick out 2 cities, 3 cathedrals, and a castle all in one day. You want to make sure to take your time. Remember, seeing Alaska over the United States, it's a lot of land to go through, so make sure that you're there to take your time. I am going to share with you the 3 different ways that Holland America goes to Alaska through the Alaska cruises, then the land and sea journeys. One is the Denali land and sea journeys, the 10 to 14 days of fun and awesomeness, and then the Yukon and Denali land and sea journey, this 10 to 20 day options for you. Let's start first with your cruises. One of the most important parts of a trip like this is your cruise. You're going to see coastal mountains leaping up from the shoreline, waterfalls, majestic forests all along your journey. And you'll be traveling along the Inside Passage, which is a 1,000-mile long chain of islands. And Holland America ships are built with Alaska in mind. All of them are mid-sized ships with fewer passengers. We feature wraparound teak decks and wide open bows for that perfect spot at the rail for you to view what you came to Alaska to see. And I always say, you oughter go. The ships are so beautiful and elegant. This is the thermal suites in the spa area. They're warm mosaic chairs that you just lie back and enjoy the journey. Just I always recommend taking the extra time in the spa. And also, you'll enjoy exquisite dining with an option for everyone, whether you have a 5-course dinner in the dining room, a casual meal in the Lido. Don't forget there's complimentary room service or an intimate evening in the Pinnacle Grill. And also on the ships, you can take a cooking class. For any one of you who are foodies, love food, this becomes your own, like it feels like your own TV show. It's presented by Food and Wine magazine. It's a theater-style venue, full state-of-the-art demonstration kitchen, or what about dancing? Holland America Line's partnership with ABC's Dancing with the Stars at Sea. If you love watching dancing or dancing yourself, there's competitions on every sailing, so just have fun with that. The idea of dancing all night and being in a competition sounds fun to me. Also, what I love about going to Alaska and the Yukon is the idea, think about it, if you are wanting to travel with friends or family reunions or big groups or just a family vacation, everyone can personalize their trip to Alaska and the Yukon with the land and shore excursions. There's almost 400 to choose from. This is zip lining, and if you're interested in doing that, get your pens out because you can do that in Juneau, Ketchikan, Skagway, Icy Strait Point, and Talkeetna. Also, maybe you want to immerse yourself in native Alaskan culture. There's plenty of options to do that. Or what about this? Go dog mushing on a glacier. And I was just in Skagway last week, and I just came back from doing that. And I have also done the dog mushing on a glacier in Juneau. So Juneau and Skagway are those places. And this is that iconic shore excursion for you to take that opportunity. If this is of interest to you, it is a helicopter ride. You land on a glacier. You go dog mushing with the dogs, and there were 2-week-old puppies on the glacier last week, and they were so beautiful. What a cute, like, very adorable. So I'm going to pause for a second, take a sip of water, and to pause for the puppies. Pretty darn cute there. We're going to head right into the Denali land and sea journeys. If you, these are the second series of journeys. If you want scenery, wildlife, and excursions, the crown jewel of Alaska's interior is Denali National Park, and it is featured on all of the land and sea journey combinations. And getting to Denali National Park is an experience in itself. You'll be traveling in style aboard the McKinley Explorer rail cars. If you didn't hear the first part, this is my first job in Alaska, so I love traveling by rail. This is a lovely way to go into the interior of Alaska. They're the largest passenger rail cars ever built. Everyone gets a seat on the upper level. They're all forward-facing seats with this beautiful dome glass ceiling. The lower level is a dining car. You can have breakfast or lunch or just sit back, relax, and enjoy the beautiful scenery. Denali National Park is 300 miles from the coastline. The park itself is the size of the state of Massachusetts. The 6 Grand Canyons could fit in that blue circle there. This is the home of big mountains, big animals, big fun. Denali offers everything from adventure excursions, maybe a dinner show, even golf. You can even golf at especially in the land of the midnight sun during the summer. You can even tee off at midnight. There are 1, 2, and 3 night stays available. This is one of those special places worth savoring. This is one of those places that's worth taking your time. And most importantly, the 2 or 3 night stays include the National Park Service's Tundra Wilderness Tour. Now, I am going to show you a couple of pictures of where you'll be staying at the park, and that is the McKinley Chalets. So beautiful, and we are building as we speak the base camp for the Denali properties. Holland America has purchased this area, and all the wonderful things that we're doing this year is just going to benefit you for next year, with a beautiful restaurant, having the theater there, doing presentations outside, the fire pits for you to just enjoy being outdoors. You're right there on the river. It's really quite stunning. Now let's go back and talk about the Tundra Wilderness Tour, and I want to give you your first wildlife sighting there. The National Park Service offers it offers many different tours, but 2 I'm going to be talking about today. And here is the map of the 6 million acres I was telling you about. This is where you can fit 6 Grand Canyons in there. This 1 road in and 1 road out of this beautiful 6 million acre, this beautiful pristine area. The National Park Service offers the Natural History Tour, which is the blue line there. It goes to about mile 16. It's about a 3-hour tour. You're within tree line, so if the animals are there, if they come on the road, then fabulous, then you get to see them. And if the mountain is out, this is your view of the mountain. But I tell you, if on your list is to see a bear, if on your list is to see, the big 4 that we were talking about before, obviously I can never guarantee animals, but if you want the better chance to see them, make sure that you write on your wish list 2 or 3 night stays in Denali National Park. I mean, I've lived there for 2 summers. I know this wonderful place, and Holland America does too. I'm so glad that we were now offering the 2 and 3 night stays. But on every 2 and 3 night stay, you are on the Tundra Wilderness Tour, which is the purple line that you see on the map here. And why it says the best wildlife viewing, that is because you're at mile 29, you are now above tree line, and you can see forever. So if an animal is there, even if they're further away, the tricked out school buses that the National Park Service has these wonderful video cameras, and they can just veer right into the animal and you can see it on the monitor. It's wonderful. I'm hoping those animals will be just as close as that wonderful bear and her cubs. And if the mountain is out, and yes, I'm talking about Denali, if Denali is out, then this is your view of Denali on the Tundra Wilderness Tour. It is absolutely stunning. It's, again, so tall that she creates her own weather. Sometimes it's a little clouded over, but boy, on a bluebird day, this would be quite the Christmas card. Which brings me to the third way of traveling into the Great Land, and that's the Yukon and Denali Land and Sea Journeys. Holland America is the only major company in the Great Land to offer journeys into this incredible wilderness. Robert Service, who is a legendary bard of the North, described it as the spell of the Yukon, and indeed it is spellbinding. The Yukon is 25% larger than the state of California, yet only 35,000 people live there. Just imagine 35,000 people living in an area larger than California. Depending on where you are right now, you could have seen that many people on the freeway today. And Holland America has brought the wonders of Alaska and the Yukon even closer. 2 seasons ago, we started this. It is a flight between Dawson City, Yukon Territory, and Fairbanks, Alaska. Now, this was a 2-day motor coach ride, and now it is a 1-hour flight. So again, you get the best places, get to see the best places, and having the most time in the best places. You'll be in the Yukon and Denali land and sea journeys. There are many different modes of transportation. The White Pass and Yukon Railway in or out of Skagway. This follows the path the gold miners took over 100 years ago during the Klondike Gold Rush. Another way you'll be traveling is on our luxury Explorer coaches. These coaches feature first-class legroom, and Holland America is mobility compliant on the motor coaches and the rail cars. I mean, just make sure that you're talking to your travel professional about your needs if you need anything special. And your coach is going to travel alongside the Yukon River, visiting Whitehorse, and then on to Dawson City. In the Yukon, you'll find the historic town of Dawson City, Yukon Territory. It's an authentic active gold mining town, the living history of the 1898 gold rush. In a town, it's under 2,000 people. You're going to find unpaved streets, wooden boardwalks, false front buildings. It's really a wonderful place. You will feel like you are back in town. And if you are interested, gold mining, by the way, is still the #1 industry in Dawson. And so if you're interested in the history of the gold rush, if you love your history person, then man, I love going to Dawson, and even after 20 years of going there, I learned something new. If you love the stories of Jack London, the poetry of Robert Service, or you just want to be surrounded, I mean truly surrounded by the wilderness. 1/6 the visitors that Denali gets is where Dawson. So please consider the Yukon and Denali land and sea journeys. Now, because you're here today, I'm going to give you some insider tips, and one is to dress in layers. This is the perfect example of someone dressing in layers. He's got an undershirt, overshirt, a warm fleece, and a weatherproof jacket because the inside passage where you'll be cruising, it is a rainforest, so it's likely you're going to get some liquid sunshine. Don't bring that big parka. It's really all about the layers. And have a little backpack so you can take on and off those layers. Have those pants that zip out to shorts because it can get warm in Alaska. So think about that, having a pair of shorts, t-shirt. It's also casual in Alaska. You will see there is 1 or 2 night for the formal nights if you're interested in that, and you will see everything from very casual tie, shirt, slacks, women in pantsuits, or you'll see the beaded gown and tuxes. You'll see that all on the ship. And if you love to, I certainly love to dress up, so you will see, I'll be the one in the beaded gown. You will really, truly, on the ship, it's really quite fun. And then when you're on the land, it is very casual. Even in a 5-star restaurant in Alaska, you will see more casual than dressed up. So think about that as you're packing for your trip to Alaska. I also want to talk about the most popular question I get every time is what's the weather like and when's the best time to go? Really, what you're really asking is, and I can totally understand this, is will it rain on me? And lately I've been saying I hope so, because the lush green is so green when it's raining. The blue of the ice on a cloudy day is so much bluer when there's when you see glaciers. And no rain, no rainbow. The better question to ask is, what are the seasons like in Alaska, and when can you spend the most time there? Now, so let me explain the seasons of Alaska. Again, the visitor season is from May through September, so let's talk about that. So we're talking about May here. That's the spring. May to the first part of June is the spring. You can almost see the grass growing and getting greener. The land is waking up from a long winter's nap, and so are the animals. So there's a lot of movement. You can see some babies being born. The spring is really quite a wonderful time to be there. The days are getting longer, animals coming out of hibernation. Summer season is from mid-June to mid-August. This is when you're going to see the salmon runs, the blankets of wildflowers, and the midnight sun. This is time-lapse photography of the longest day of the year, June 21st, and as you can see, it never gets dark. You will come out of the show, if you go to the Music of Denali show, and it'll look like it'll be 10 o'clock at night, and it'll look like it's noon. It's really quite stunning, and so you'll love the land of the midnight sun. Make sure you sleep. Also, the fall in Alaska is mid-August into September. The fall foliage is nothing like you'll see anywhere else because even the ground cover changes to golds and oranges and reds and stretches out for hundreds of miles. The animals become active in the autumn as they're getting their feeding and getting ready for the winter ahead. And if in fact you want to see the northern lights, put your pens out and say end of August into September. Of course, it's Mother Nature, so I can never promise them, but if you want to see them in the summertime, it is too light to see them. You need a dark sky to see them. And after the summer solstice, which is June 21st, Alaska loses about 6 to 7 minutes of daylight per day. Therefore, every 10 days they're losing about an hour, so it needs to be into the end of August into September to even see them. The northern lights are wonderful, and after you experience them, you'll know why. You can see them on any picture, you can Google them, but until you truly experience them and they're dancing overhead, there's nothing like the northern lights. So now here is the fun part. I'm going to go through all of the different options for you, and really this is when to definitely have your pen and paper out. And anything that I talk about, any series number, write that down, and so you can help your travel professional prioritize your vacation, because this is all about the vacation of a lifetime for you. Again, let's talk about the cruises. The Alaskan Explorer, it's a round trip Seattle. Then there's also round trip Vancouver, the Inside Passage cruises. Then there's the one-ways between Vancouver and Seward, or Seward and Vancouver. But if you're interested in more of the coastline and you love cruising, get your pens out, because take a look at that round trip Seattle. It's called the Great Land Explorer. 14 days, no repeated ports, and also in places that not a lot of cruise lines or other cruise lines even go to. Anchorage, no one goes to Anchorage except by cruise line except Holland America. You also Homer, Kodiak, you see Hubbard, Sitka. I mean, this is, if you're interested in cruising and cruising only, this is a wonderful trip for you, and that is the Great Land Explorer. It's a round trip Seattle. And I wanted to tell you, if you want to see what I was talking about when I say to dock in Anchorage, and just by the tides, the mere fact of the tides, it is a miracle that we go. And I love the fact that Holland America goes there on the 14-day. But normally the ships dock in Seward there, but it goes all the way to the 14-day goes to Kodiak. Sorry about that. It moved on me to Homer, and then all the way to Anchorage and back. So again, no repeated ports. It's really quite stunning. Let's go to the Denali Land and Sea Journeys, and just to explain again what the land and sea journey is, it means part of your vacation on the cruise ship is on the cruise ship, and part of your vacation is venturing into the Great Land. Let's talk about the triple Denali journeys first. Now let me explain these colored squares. The blue, of course, is your cruise, and then the other multicolored squares are your time spent on land. The number of days is at the top, and you also have land first and cruise first. And just so you know, D1 and D2 are the triple Denali trips. And also it says land first and cruise first, and let me give you a tip on both of these, because like, what's in it for me, and why would I want to do either one above the other? Land first, I mean, the obvious thing is land first, you do the land first and cruise home, and cruise first, you do the cruise first and do the land after. But my tip for you is, if you're flying all the way to Alaska, whether it's Fairbanks or Anchorage, if you're doing a land first, you're getting your body used to a new time zone. So make sure on a land first, here's my tip, is to spend a day or more before your trip to get your body used to the time zone, because the first major day is traveling into the park, into Denali National Park. And it's for selfish reasons. I just want you to don't want you to fall asleep. And that whether it's by motor coach or by train, that swaying back and forth, it will just, if you're not rested, you will just fall asleep on a beautiful travel into the park. Cruise First, here's my tip for you, and everyone flies on a Cruise First into Vancouver, one less time zone, and the very first day is a day at sea. So you can do as much or as little. If you're already rested, you can do as much or as little as you want. You can rest as you're traveling north. And so if you're working till the very last moment, if you're making sure that the pets are taken care of and the water and the plants are watered, consider a cruise first, and the land just opens up for you like it did with the early explorers. So again, D1 and D2 are the triple Denali trips. D3, 4, 5, and 6 are the double Denali trips, and I'm going to highlight 2 of them for you. Take a look at D3, and it has an overnight in Seward, Alaska. Seward, Alaska is where the ship docks, and to have the overnight there is really cool because you have the option of doing the Kenai Fjords National Park Tour. If you're interested in marine wildlife, like those wonderful, cute little otters that I showed earlier, or the humpback whales, orcas, consider the Kenai Fjords as an optional tour for you. This is where Alaskans, the Kenai Fjords and around Seward is where Alaskans go on vacation. It's a beautiful trip. And also the Sea Life Center is there in Seward. That's a wonderful place to go to if you're interested in marine wildlife. That's D3, to write that down if that's of interest to you. If you want luxury along your way, take a look at D4. And what I love about this year, we did a little change this year, and I really love it. It is a night in Alyeska and a night in Talkeetna. Now, Talkeetna is if you want to know what the locals are like, Talkeetna is the place for you. You're also staying in a beautiful resort here in Talkeetna. And then you have one night here and then one night in Alyeska. And that is a beautiful premier resort in Alaska. It's about 45 minutes south of Anchorage. There's a tram that takes you up to a fine dining restaurant at the Seven Glaciers restaurant. It's wonderful. Then D7 and D8 is only if you want a hint of the Great Land. It's only got one night in Denali, so make sure that if you want to see the bears, if you want to see the land and go and do the Tundra Wilderness Tour, make sure you do the 2 and 3 night stays in Denali National Park. And then, which brings me to the Yukon and Denali land and sea journeys, Y1 through Y5. Now, Y1 is the one you do it all, see it all. You want to do Alaska and the Yukon once. Write down Y1. It's got not only the 7 nights of cruising, it's got triple Denali, double Dawson, double Whitehorse, which is the Yukon capital of the Yukon, and the 2 nights in the best places. And what's cool about this trip that you really might not understand here is it's round trip Vancouver, which makes it even better. 20-day trip. Now, if 20 days is not on your vacation docket, consider Y2, which also got triple Denali, double Dawson, and double Skagway. Another wonderful town to trek around. And it's got the 3 and 4 nights of cruising. Going to the Yukon and the 3 and 4 nights of cruising is unique to Holland America Line. So as you're doing your research, make sure that you know that if you want the shorter cruise with the land package, Y2, Y3, 4, and 5 have that the shorter cruise option for you with a land package. Also, as you can see the diamonds next to any of the Y tours, and that means a journey host is going to be on your trip, and they become your personal concierge and are there with you along the way. That's on the Yukon and Denali land and sea journeys. One question you may ask yourself is, okay, so how do I do this? How do I get there? And because you're here tonight and our partnership with Cruise Experts, I want to tell you about the shipboard credit offer and an onboard value booklet with savings up to $350 per person. But let's talk about that shipboard credit. It's up to $200 per cabin, depending on the type of vacation that the journey that you want. If you do a cruise only, it's $25 per person, up to $50 per stateroom. Denali Land and Sea Journeys, which D1 through D8, it's $50 per person, up to $100 per stateroom. Now, if you choose a Yukon Land and Sea Journeys, Y1 through Y5, it's $100 per person, up to $200 per stateroom. For the onboard value booklets, it's a saving coupon that's going to arrive there and be there waiting for you in your stateroom. And for the shipboard credit, many different excursions or spa sessions, maybe a wine with dinner, maybe that dog sledding option for you in Juneau or Skagway, anything like that. So that's the shipboard credit offer because you're here today, and then for the online Alaska. And in addition to that, for select sailings, in addition to the online Alaska, there is the options of the beverage package, the free Pinnacle Grill dinner, free or reduced cruise fares for third or fourth guests in the same stateroom, and a 50% reduced deposit. And if you book a suite, you're going to receive the online Alaska plus these 4 offers below and a $300 extra onboard spending credit plus a free Canaleno dinner as long as they're there, because they stay there. So I am going to I'm going to say hey to Wes and Julie. I know there may be questions along the way. I want to thank you all for coming out. And yeah, let's open it up for questions.
Okay, Marie and Wes. Actually, I think you answered this question before. This is from Deborah. When is the best time to cruise to Alaska? Can you just kind of briefly go over that again?
Yeah, just to cruise to Alaska, it's May through September. If you're going to be doing more than a cruise, make sure you want to spend as much time as possible. If it's cruise only, really, I mean, the weather is the weather. So I would say the best time for you to go and stay the longest. Have extra time on either side. If you're going to Seattle, enjoy Seattle. If you're going to Vancouver, enjoy Vancouver. But really take the best time because we can never promise the weather. So we have lovely weather here this past season, but you never know about the weather. So the best time for you to go is the best time to go.
Okay. Then a couple questions from Delmore. He's traveling as a single and wondering if there's any 14 days from Vancouver, single hosted cruises this fall, and anything regarding the single supplements.
Is Wes there?
Yes. Hey, Marie. So
yeah,
the question
hi.
is regarding, hey, I learn something every time, and it amazes me how fresh and how detailed and how thorough you are, and I'm always just amazed at all the aspects of Alaska you share about. So I look forward to doing this online seminar with you again. Question is about the single supplements. As a rule, all cruise lines, including Holland America, the policy is that you do pay the single supplement, which is really double of what the double occupancy is. I know, and we all agree, and I think it's a worldwide agreement that, that stinks. I understand from a business perspective why any supplier does that. So my recommendation to you when you're traveling solo is there are times when there may be special pricing that is that might be a great deal. We say, on this particular date, the supplement is only this much, and you can have a fantastic opportunity and get, it depends. A lot of it depends on the time of year when you want to travel. And if you're traveling at peak time, then it is proportionally higher. There are a lot of variables. So long answer to your short question, we will do everything we can to help mitigate that and to find something that's a good match for you that is reasonably priced and to try to find a solution. So I hope that helps in understanding how the single supplements work. Other questions?
That's it. Hold on. We have another one from Deborah. Does the stateroom are there any staterooms with multiple bedrooms?
Great question, and unless I'm correct, you correct me here, Marie, All rooms are based upon minimum double occupancy. There are some staterooms that accommodate 3 or 4, but they're the same size stateroom. It's just the bedding for 3 or 4 guests in that room. The suites are really designed for 2 or 3. They're not. Holland America does not have suites that have multiple bedrooms on any of the ships. And so, if you're looking for a family group or multiple generation group, the best option is to actually help us, for us to find you adjoining or adjacent cabins. Adjoining means there's a door between, like a hotel, and that you will usually get a better value for you. And keep in mind, you get 2 bathrooms as well. So adjoining is the way to go, and those are limited on every ship, and that all the more reason that when you book early, you get what's available. When you book late, you get what's left over. So if that's a priority for you, then that's the solution for multiple rooms with a door between, as opposed to a large room that has multiple bedrooms, if that makes sense. Other questions? Anything that we can help you with? Give some insight.
I don't see any other questions. I just want to remind everyone that we will be, there's a survey at the end, and we would greatly appreciate it if you could fill that out, and it'll help us out with future webinars and help us meet your needs for cruising to Alaska.
That's right. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you once again. It's just been really a pleasure to be with you today. Marie's done a fantastic job. At CruiseExperts.com, it's really our desire to work with you and to earn your trust. If you have questions about Alaska, particularly Holland America's experience in Alaska, please give us a call. And the experts on staff are very knowledgeable. Our job is to understand your needs and expectations, really offer to you unbiased counsel and understanding how to find just exactly the right match for you, how to provide the information you need to make an educated choice, to connect all the dots from beginning to end. It's one thing to look it up and to do the research online. It's another thing to really have an experienced, knowledgeable travel advisor that knows how to connect all the dots and provide for you a seamless, wonderful experience that you can travel worry-free. So please give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Our number is toll-free across the U.S. and Canada, 866-787-6866. Again, toll-free, CruiseExperts.com, 866-787-6866. Marie, Julie, it's been a pleasure to be with you again tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope to hear from you. Call us tomorrow over the next few days. Please allow us to work with you in helping plan your fantastic vacation to Alaska. Thanks again. Good night, everyone.